Now let's talk about AI, the big and hot topic right now.
Mm.
And ChatGPT just took the world with a storm, right? Like more than 100 million users in just a couple of days.
Yeah.
That's insane. And what's your thought on that? What's going on with ChatGPT? And then of course Google Bard, they came up, with their response.
Yeah. ChatGPT is pretty crazy, I would say. Um, it's very good at like helping you get like a something to springboard your ideas off of, and it's very good to like bounce ideas off of very quickly. So
Mhm.
like when I'm writing anything, like even for grants, when I'm writing something, I like type in what I'm thinking to ChatGPT just to get like somewhere to start. But I would say its pitfalls come and when you want like a very niche or specific thing, because it's like very robotic when it
Mhm.
responds to things, even though it's very like conversational and it'll understand the context throughout your entire conversation. You can tell when something's written by ChatGPT versus a person,
Right.
and ChatGPT can also tell when it's written by a ChatGPT or a person because there's a lot of like ChatGPT detection software out there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there's a big thing where like students in like college and high school were just using ChatGPT to write their essays. So colleges and high schools started like developing software to detect how much of this essay was written by ChatGPT.
Wow. So that's already out. Wow.
Yeah, that's already out.
That's
Yeah,
really quick.
AI is fighting AI. It's already happening.
So how can someone use ChatGPT effectively? Obviously, like you said, you can see if it's if it's written by the bot, and also sometimes it's not that accurate, right? Let's say
Mhm.
you're gonna ask them something, sometimes it's accurate, sometimes it's not, because it's most of, I think it's predicting the next word in the sentence. And so how can you do prompt engineering? Let's put it that way.
Okay. So I think the main thing to learn about ChatGPT is its main function is to carry on a conversation and not necessarily be right. It's like a human would, you know.
Mhm.
We're carrying on conversations. We don't necessarily care about, like hopefully we do care about being right, but we don't necessarily know or like care to know if we are saying like the correct thing. So ChatGPT is the same way, where it's going to keep saying things and going down pathways that it doesn't necessarily know if it's right or not, but it's trying to continue the conversation. So if you notice that, you definitely want to start like a new chat and sort of realign it to get it sort of where it's speaking the truth again. But some helpful ways to use ChatGPT that I've seen are for coding. I use it a lot for like debugging
Mhm.
or creating like a very simple algorithm
Mhm.
that I'm kind of like stumped on, and then I use that as a springboard because sometimes ChatGPT code doesn't work, but yeah, it does have like a bunch of useful ideas that I can incorporate into my own code
Mhm.
and useful ways to fix the debugging issue that I have. So it's very useful in that fact. I've also seen it used for like writing cover letters, which are super useful because cover letters are very like standardized. I've also seen it being used to like customize your resume for different types of job positionings,
Okay.
which is super useful as well. Because you don't want to go through like your resume and like, nitpick what you should add and what you should exclude. You can just have ChatGPT say, oh, add this if you're applying to like a biomedical company. Add this if you're applying to like a um, you know, finance company, hospitality company, or something like that.
So yeah, that's really good. Coding, you're right. I think it kind of little is very useful in coding, right? For the most part, is type of accurate if it's understand what you're trying to do, right? Sometimes you gotta ask the chat again, hey, make it this way, or try to add this library, or try to give it directions, and then you come back and say, oh, I'm sorry, this is I'm sorry for giving you that. This is okay, this is one. Let's try this again, right?
Yeah, yeah,
It's kind of, you have to, it's like you're driving a car, you have to be, try to steer it in the correct direction. Sometimes you can say, hey, make it if you're writing a text, make it more convincing, or make a summary, or summarize it in just 2 sentences, something like
mhm.
that, right? Because if not, it's just gonna start keep writing.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. That's where prompt engineering comes into play. just making sure it's like actually doing what you want it to do, and like writing clear and concise prompts that can exactly convey what you're trying to accomplish is the way to like get the most out of ChatGPT.
Then I don't know how is it compared to Google Bard, because sometimes I type the same thing on both, ChatGPT and Google Bard, and sometimes they give you similar answers, sometimes they don't. So I don't know how, which one is, I don't know if you do that. I don't know if you try to double check in both or you just go ChatGPT.
I only use ChatGPT, but I might start double checking both just to see uh, how good Google Bard is.
They're doing this similar thing with ChatGPT, very good in coding. But it seems like, I'm not sure, it seems like ChatGPT is kind of, because they just get started, it seems like they're a little bit ahead right now, but I don't know, because Google also is very powerful. They've been
Google
waking
does a lot of data.
they've been waking up recently very strong.
Yeah,
So what other AI tool you see coming? Because ChatGPT, they work with Microsoft, Google is coming in. Obviously, I think there will be more competition, right? More AI chatbot, right?
there's also like open source chatbots that have been really good. Like there's one that came out of Stanford. I'm blanking on the name. I think it's Alpaca. There's one that came out of Stanford called Alpaca, I believe. That was also very good. They did tests comparing Alpaca to ChatGPT, and it was very comparable.
Mm.
And the good thing about Alpaca is that it's very private. Like if you're feeding it sensitive data, you're not sending that data to OpenAI,
Mhm,
and it's also free.
mhm.
So you can do as much as you want from there. So I think those are going to be getting more and more popular as more people start adopting LLMs. But right now, ChatGPT, OpenAI, Google Bard are like all on the top of the world right now.
Right. And it's also like sometimes I feel like is the first person to come out. If they succeed, it's very hard to switch people, right? It's like
Mhm.
when the iPhone come in, everybody bought the iPhone, then Samsung came back. They're very good. They're Samsung Galaxy, like they're an iPhone, but when people get used to to the iPhone, they're like, oh, I'm not switching, right?
Yeah, yeah, it's sticky. OpenAI is very sticky.
Yeah. Once you start, you're like, oh, I'm just gonna keep using it. The other question I have is, are we using the tool or the tool is using us?
That is a great question. The
See what I
tool is
mean?
definitely using us, I would say.
You see what I mean there?
It is getting smarter and smarter with each, use.
Yeah. Like anytime I'm typing something, I'm like, no, I'm just gonna help him learn more what people are asking, right? Yeah, it's kind of scary. It's kind of
Yeah, there's a reason why, ChatGPT is free, I would say. That's all I gotta say.
yes.
Yeah,
That's true. That's if it's free, that means in somewhat we are the products. We are
yeah,
somewhat like using social media. We are the product. It's probably using us because if we keep using this tool for 5, 10 years, how accurate that can be. It's gonna learn very quickly.
yeah. It's gonna be very difficult to tell like a regular person from ChatGPT
Yeah.
once they learns, as much. Like GPT-6, GPT-7, it's gonna be very human-like, I would believe.
And also, I know in the English language is very powerful now, and I think they're trying to roll out in for people around the world. I speak French. Last time I talked to ChatGPT in French, and then I just write something in French. He replied me in French. So I was like,
Oh.
okay, that's good. So they're trying to roll out other languages. I think it's gonna take time. But at that time, when I tried, it's been like 2 months ago. At that time, Google Board didn't have French, but now they think they do.
Mhm.
But thing I was thinking about is how they're gonna incorporate all these other languages. Are they just gonna, let's say you write something in Japanese or in Swahili, which is an African language, and then is it gonna go look for the answer in English and then translate that back to you in Swahili? See what I mean?
Mm.
Because it seems like the English data set, you have more data set written in the English language, like Wikipedia, like all these big organizations, right, in the West, right?
Yeah, yeah. Um, Based off of my knowledge, I think it would be the easiest to like extract the answer in English, then translate it to the language that you're speaking to it in.
Right.
Just because I believe it has a very large English
Yes.
language base. Yeah.
Yeah. Especially in the internet, it's scanning the whole internet. A lot of languages, they're not that. Let's say that you don't have many internet users online, right? But that brings to my question: how is it going to be a little bit biased because it's now is giving you in the perspective of a data set from the West, right? Or
Yeah.
is it going to be
It will
try
be 100% biased.
right? Gonna be it's gonna be arguing with you based on like someone from the from wherever the data set is coming from, unless we get some other AI tools and then we train them on other you know other type of data.
Yeah, like training like a with all like French websites, for example, and just making it like a French chat GPT. Because even like how good chat GPT will get, it will never understand like the nuances of speaking like native French to like a
Yes,
French speaker.
that's
Yeah,
correct.
it'll be like a very like robotic French
Right,
thing in its translation.
right. Because I heard somewhere that they were I listened to a podcast, like they were training an AI tool, and then the AI was trying to identify if someone is a man or a woman. Just show you the picture, it's gonna say that's a man, that's a woman. And then they start showing that AI to black people and black women, black men and black women is not getting it correct. What he was doing at that time, he was very good with white people because he just looking for the makeup. If the woman has some makeup, right? If the lips are some type, you have something on the lips or the makeup, say okay, that's a woman. If there's no makeup, that's a man. Or maybe there's a beard, right?
Yeah.
Then if you go to someone with a darker skin, it's hard to see those features. And then so the solution was they took that AI to Africa and then they keep training it until it started getting better.
Yeah, exactly. It's like the AI was probably trained on only white faces, so that's what it's very good at doing, white faces. But then you introduce other ethnicities, and then it just doesn't know what's going on.
How do you see AI safety? People like Elon Musk, they screaming, like, you have to, even some people sign a letter to say, hey, we need to pause this, right? Which is not going to happen, of course. How can we make, how can this thing be safe, not get out of hands?
Yeah, that's a great question. I feel like with like any sort of exciting, new technology, the innovation is always going to be far ahead of the actual safety. I think a good example of that is like the submarine, the submersible that happened a few weeks ago. Like
Yes.
the technology was very forward, but like the safety was sort of a back concern because everyone wants to be like the first, big sort of make a big splash, and then they can worry about like, oh, making it safe and making it user friendly later. But I think taking that time to like make safety a priority is a very big step into actually making AI for everyone and making it like mostly beneficial for like society as opposed to like very harmful.
So who should be, creating this safety thing? Is that the government? Is that an agency, maybe an agency like the FDA? Like how do we regulate, AI?
I'd say the best people to regulate AI are people that, you know, work with AI very frequently and sort of like the knowledge bit, like the experts in the field should definitely regulate AI because they know the ins and outs and how to sort of manipulate AI to do certain things, and they can sort of counteract that, sort of like an ethical hacking sort of thing,
Mm.
where these people are very well versed in how AI operates and well versed on how people can abuse it, and they can stop people from abusing it.